What is up, guys? Jake from One Hive here with our next cleanup episode. In this one, last time Hell was sort of the hero. This time he gets to be on the front end of this thing. It's all right. It goes both ways, man. Uh, really a nice attack, honestly. A few mistakes that were made that sort of, I think, played into it, but a little bit of planning too. But very aggressive. I like the. It was a bold attack, and I like the way it went. Almost had it, just sort of ran out of time. But let's get to the attack here. The first thing that he does is send in a few hogs. He sends in 3 here and 4 here, just to take out a few point defense and get the CC lure. Hindsight, I think this is one of the things that sort of bit him in the end. It was a little bit too expensive. Could have been done a little bit better way, I think. But does get the 2 point defense taken down, gets the CC lured out, and then brings them up top. You can't see it up there, but he has a nice anchor. He drops his few distraction troops, his witches, his queen, all of that good stuff. He goes ahead and sends a golem in right here, starts to create his funnel. Same thing over here, golem starts to create his funnel, and even drops a few hogs in here while they're sort of being tanked, and takes out a few defensive buildings. A Tesla pops here, but that's no big deal. He takes care of it with a few wizards that also assist him in creating his funnel. Very, very patient with his king. He holds on to it for a while, which I think turned out to be a good thing. But notice here he brought 7 wall breakers, sort of a la Ballerwood, what we saw. Opening 2 compartments, getting all the way into here, because look at the journey he's making to get to this queen. I mean, it's insane. It works. You know, he brought plenty of tanking for it. The 2 witches work as tanks, and then the golems, obviously. The one thing that I think probably cost him was, and I think this was something that he just didn't need and he had it anyways, was I think it was probably one of those misclick things that happened to all of us. He only drops 2 of his golems at the start, 1 here and 1 here. It's at the very end of the raid. I think he realizes he's got a golem left and drops it down here, but it does basically nothing. So had he had those 6 extra hogs, this is a 3-star in my opinion. So just a minor mistake. It happens to everybody, but turns out he didn't even need that 3rd golem, again, to make that ginormous journey, dropping a jump spell here and here, get all the way to that queen. When you've got those 30-30 heroes, you can do it, though. I mean, they can just sort of waltz through a base, especially if you can keep those golems out front, which he did with the assistance of some of those witch skeletons as well. Just starts working his way through the base. You know, he's got some heals here. He goes ahead and sends his hogs in on this side to take out a few, like I said. Then he has the king finally makes it over, takes out the queen. He starts sending in balloons on the backside here. You see he's got 6 balloons just to help out towards the end, which is a great plan because this, you know, he's taking out all of these air defenses. But what happens is his queen gets stuck right here, and she just cannot. I think she could reach the air defense, but for some reason she doesn't. She takes out. She sort of gets stuck taking out these storages. You know, these high HP storages. And by that time, the balloons are making their way over, and they start getting taken out relatively quickly. But again, had he had 6 hogs in the bag, could have easily sent them in right here, taken that out, and then would have had those hogs for cleanup. Would have been a 3-star. But we'll watch Hell do it, then we'll come back to the drawing board. Okay, here we go. In just a moment, we'll see the start of the attack. Takes a few seconds to get his stuff ready, and then here come the hogs. Again, 2 groups. He just drops 1, I guess, to get out in front and do a little tanking, and then the 3-3 on both of them. Take out both defenses, but you see what I was talking about there. The CC already coming out, so really he didn't have to remove those defenses to get the lure, but he does anyways. I like to kill a few with my lure as well, but in this particular scenario, I think it probably would have been better not doing it and just using the hogs later in the raid. But right here, the dragon's out. You know, the witches go down. The queen's there. She's going to take out that dragon pretty quickly. It's distracted by the skeletons, which is perfect. And then right here, the first golem goes down. Now, that balloon sort of gets away right here, chasing a few skeletons, and then gets onto that golem, I think, in just a moment. Actually, it just drops and misses there. But you'll see on the right side here, sort of developing this part of the attack, the funnel's created on the left side, the queen's working her way up. Here come the wall breakers to start opening those compartments. He drops a few, he waits, he drops a few more. He's even got 1 left in the bag here. So they get all the way in, right there, boom. Huge compartments open up. You see the hogs that he used over on the right side. But notice here, only 2 golems down. Still got a golem in the bag. I didn't ask Hell, but I'm pretty sure that was just a slip up. Again, it happens to all of us, especially after the update. Sometimes those clicks just don't happen in the heat of battle. You don't notice it. But really doesn't need it to be. That's why I was telling you earlier. I mean, he gets all the way to that queen without it. So the extra tankage was not needed. What he needed was a little more defense targeting troops, whether it be balloons or hogs. I would have elected for hogs. hindsight, but that's always different than when you're planning. Right here, you're going to see the second jump goes down, and then uses the king's ability, and boom, they lock onto that queen, run over, take her out. The queen the king once he takes that queen out, he's probably going to be sacrificed. He's going to go down. So Hell knows that going in. But you see here, right there, he just had his first golem busting the golemites. Still has a golem that's not even busted yet. He's starting and sending his balloons here. He had noticed that he had that last golem. He dropped it over on the side just to do a little tanking, which was good. But that's that's not good use, for that space. He made the best of a bad situation. But right here, you see the queen's take. She's sort of stuck on those high HP buildings, just working on them, working on them, working on them. And right here, in just a moment, the balloons get in range of that air defense. Two defenses they've got to get to first. And then right here, even when the queen could get on that air defense, for some reason she targets that wall. I think that air defense is really close enough for sure for her to target, but for whatever reason, she does not. Once she breaks the wall down, she clears out that compartment. The last of the defenses are gone, but just not enough time and not enough cleanup troops. So very good attack by Hell, very aggressive, that long journey across the base. Just a few mistakes. It happens to all of us. We'll go back to the drawing board and see how this one was cleaned up. All right, here we are back at the drawing board, looking at how Armando took this information and cleaned it up. Obviously, he has the advantage of it being a second attack, which is big, but he makes very good use of it. You'll notice down here he does bring some healers. He's going to do a nice queen walk, drops her in right here with the healers on there, and takes out this army camp with a wizard. That's going to make a nice big break, force the queen up the direction he wants it to go. Takes out 3-point defense, which is pretty nice for a small queen walk. And a lot of trash going down. Once everything's, once the queen's working her way up this direction, he goes ahead and drops a golem here. That Tesla pops again. No big deal. He does send in wall breakers, but I think he wanted to do the same thing that Hell did, but went a little bit slow on staggering the wall breakers because this wall opened up and then he deployed his next ones. Well, this mortar was still up. So they came down here and took out this wall, which means they had to sort of beat through this spot. But he drops a rage for him. King goes in. Obviously, he creates his funnel over here. King goes in, the one golem he has, and look at this, 6 witches. I'm actually surprised this went as well as it did because of all this splash damage up here. That's a lot of splash damage for witches right there where he's entering, but it works out. Drops that rage. Those skeletons chew through that wall in no time. He deals with the CC troops, goes ahead and drops the poison on them. The king takes, and the queen works her way around, takes all that out, starts working his way in, then just starts in with his hogs on the side here, which is really nice. Again, knowing where the bombs are and all that really helps. And another thing that I forgot to mention on Hell's attack is that Armando went really aggressive with that heal spell, which I like. This is 7 spaces, but Armando does it no problem, guys. If the radius of the spell is touching the wall, it's like the wall's not even there. You can really get aggressive with it. There wasn't really a need for 2 jump spells in that scenario, which Hell used. But it takes some time to get used to that. I'm guilty of it as well. It's like you're scared to do it. You think it's going to mess your attack up. But again, if that spell is touching that wall, any part of the wall, it's going to allow your troops to jump through there. You'll see on this attack. And then just continues to heal his hogs and deploy his wounds on the backside, taking out a few more defenses. And just a really, really nice attack. So let's clear all this out of the way. Watch Armando clean this up. All right, here we go with Armando's attack. You see, did it pretty quickly as well. Drops the queen down, drops those healers right on top of her, and then drops that wizard just to take out that army camp. That's always a nice spot to create your, whatever you want to call it, break the trash ring, push the queen in the direction you want her to go. You see, even with a couple of point defense there, no problem with that higher level queen and 3 healers on it. Takes those out really easily. And then she's just going to continue her walk up the top towards the north, taking out trash buildings and defenses along the way. Then here in just a moment, you're going to see he drops his golem down, start tanking for these point defense over here, and then immediately back that up with some wizards, create the funnel, start taking out those defenses that are targeting the golem. So all that is going really well, and then here comes the swarm of witches. He drops a few of them down, a few wall breakers, and then he starts dropping the rest of his witches there. So tons of skeletons coming in. You'll see right here the wall breakers tries to go in for the second one, but that mortar's still up, so they targeted that compartment just a little bit too quick on him. If he waited just a moment, that would have been down, but no big deal. With 6 witches and a rage, they chew through that wall in no time. You see he drops the poison. The queen's joined up there, so she helps take all that out. And then the king goes down. Again, really protecting his king with only 1 golem. He wanted to make sure and do that. You see the golem's getting out front, which is good. And there's that really aggressive jump spell. Look at that. That's going to let them all the way into that next compartment. I know it doesn't look like it's next to that wall, but it does. Lets everything in. You see the hogs already working in, sort of protecting those troops' flank there, which is really nice. Right there, the king gets in, uses the king's ability, takes that defensive queen out, and then these back in balloons with a few hogs really snuck them right past up there towards that last that last air defense through that Tesla. So some of these balloons on the backside were protected, but absolutely crushed it. Again, just took the information that he needed. This was not one of those attacks where it was like, just a small minor tweak. Pretty much a different attack, but what was needed for the base. So excellent attack, Armando. Good try to hell. Keep your head up, buddy. It was not a bad attack by any stretch. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Until next time, Jake from One Hive reminding you guys to suck less.